first. And then actually Wes Covert is with us this morning and he's got some thoughts about for agents. He's got some ideas and some programs that we're going to talk about, but we're going to do the drawing first. So here we go. Jackie, you pick. Jackie's going to pick today. Don't look, Jackie.
We got Miss Jessica Reeves. Is she on?
Jessica.
We got Jessica Pavia, but not Miss Reeves.
How about down lower below Tracy?
See, where is my mouse? Nope.
No. Okay. So how much are we? What's the pot now?
That was at 160. So 180 next week.
180. Oh, Christmas money. We're working on Christmas money.
Can I make a mention of something, Sarah?
Absolutely.
So, you know, I work at Porterville College, and as a department, we have a former student who works in social services, and she sent a request. I guess there's a lot of people who are struggling in the community right now because the government shut down and the SNAP benefits, regardless of your political perspective on that. There's some people that have needs, and so we're going to go and buy some Walmart gift cards this afternoon. So if anyone would like to participate with that, you can Venmo me some money, and I'll go do it.
Okay.
Just to help some people.
So if anybody would like to participate and donate, contact Jim.
Yeah.
If you don't have Jim's number, we can put it in the chat.
Venmo tag, can you text me your Venmo tag and I will put that in?
Sure, I'll do that right now.
We'll send you the Venmo tag. Okay, thank you.
JP's trying to be funny.
What do you say? Something political.
Well,
no. He said, Wes Covert, who's that?
Wes Covert, it's your turn. You're up.
I am here. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Perfect. One of the things that I wanted to kind of bring to everybody's attention right now, and we haven't really had this conversation over the last 3, 4, 5 years, is adjustable rate mortgages. And they're becoming a little bit more popular now, and for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is there's actually a big enough spread today versus like a 30-year fixed for a 3 and a 5-year arm to where it might make sense for some borrowers. And for example, let's just say that the FHA fixed rate is 5.25. If you do a 3-1 arm, meaning that the rate is going to be fixed for 3 years, the start rate on that is 3.99, right? So you're going to get a 1.25% lower start rate on those, and you can still buy those rates down even further. On a 5-1 arm, meaning that it's fixed for 5 years, and then it's going to adjust 1% per year after that, the start rate on that is 4.375. So you get a 1% lower rate on a 5-1 arm. Now, there's a couple of education pieces that, you know, I know as soon as you mention the word adjustable rate or arm or whatever, buyers generally tend to like freak out and be like, oh no, I'm not interested. But there's some education that might help these. And part of it is the new adjustable rates mortgage are really regulated by the government, and they don't let lenders do the things that they used to do with adjustable rates and jack up the rate 5%, you know, every adjustable. And so if you think about this, they get a rate at 3.99 and 3 years go by, and then they still have the mortgage and the rate goes up 1%. It's only going to go up to 4.99, right? So that's still below market. And then if it adjusts one more time for year 5, it's only going to be 5.99. Think about the same thing for the 5-year arm. It's going to be 4.375. It's going to go up to 5.375, which is still a market rate. So you don't really have 5 years on those loans. You kind of have 7 on the 5-year, and you kind of have 5 years on the 3-year. And so I think with appropriate education, you might be able to get some borrowers that maybe they're correctional officers who haven't maxed out their scale, or teachers that get raises every year. I think there's an opportunity to engage with these products with customers who are just kind of turned off by the first year payments. So as an example, if you do a 3-1 arm on a $375,000 sale price, the payment's going to be $300 lower for the first 3 years, right? If you do the 5/1 arm, so it's fixed for 5 years, it's going to be $200 lower per month for the first 5 years. So I think there is some education that can happen with the consumer. It's not going to fit everybody, but I know times are tough out there right now. There's not a lot of buyer activity. They're not really engaging, and they're definitely not pulling the trigger on a lot of stuff because of price points, probably payments also. There is an opportunity to potentially to maybe snag one of these buyers under utilizing these products. So I guess it might make sense to have conversation if you have a buyer that is actually stuck on maybe a price point or wants to go higher. Maybe they feel like they can't afford it. There's a lot of factors that can come into play. So, and you can buy those down too, those rates. So there's a lot of flexibility there. I know sellers are going to have to be flexible to sell property. So I just think that I think you can potentially use these products to pick up a deal or two over the next 2 months.
As long as Wes, do you think it scares borrowers as soon as they hear adjustable?
They do, but for a lot of reason, right? Like they have a bad name associated with them. But I also think that with appropriate education, you can overcome some of that, especially if it makes sense. And I think one of the ways to address it could be a conversation with the borrower, whether you have it as a real estate agent or a lender has it, is more about, hey, what are your plans for the next, you say you buy today, what are your plans? How long do you plan on staying there? Do you plan on, is this you're going to be your forever home? Do you plan on moving soon? Are you going to be getting any raises soon? And so I think, um, if you can get them to say yes to some of those things, in their mind, they're making a decision like, oh, okay, hey, this might make sense. Yeah, I am going to make more money in 3 years or 5 years. And at any time during these loans, you can still refinance them. So yes, they're scary initially for good reason. They were really bad loans in 2008. So I get that part. But
They weren't regulated though, right, Wes? Now they're regulated.
they weren't as restrictive. No, a lot of them had 2% adjustments. Some of them had 5% adjustments on the first adjustment. So like somebody's rate would go from, 299 to 799 in the first adjustment. Well, we all know what happens when that's where all the foreclosures came from. And so, and these are based off of a new index, and it's a very slow moving index. And what that means is, um, it doesn't like, uh, when the rate adjusts, it doesn't like adjust from a rate that has a ton of volatility. Um, they use the constant treasury to gauge the index, and then they add a 2% margin to it. So I think today that rate would be about 5.4 if you had one that was adjusting today. So it's still an at market rate loan, and in a decreasing environment, which you can argue that we are going to have or are not going to have a decreasing rate environment, adjustable rates generally are the best loans to have. Now, I'm not saying that these are the best loans to have. I'm just saying that you can make an argument that they're not that terrible.
Okay.
I think we're grasping at really all straws here to get buyer engagement or interest. And it's not, like I said, it's not going to work for everybody, but it may work if for the right person.
What would the questions be that you would ask your client that would maybe not as absolutely qualifying, but maybe if it was a conversation for them, what would
I
those
think
questions be?
I think if I'm hosting an open house and there's a finance flyer and it says the payment's $2,700 and the buyer's like, oh my God, I really have to be under 2,500. Then I think you start asking questions like, oh, okay, well, what does your job situation look like? Or either of you going to get a promotion soon? Are you going to school? Are you due for a raise anytime in the next 3 years? What is your income going to look like in the next 5 years? Um, and do you plan on making more money in 5 years? So I think it's more about what the outlook is for them. How long do they plan on keeping it? Right? Are they going to have a family where they're going to have to grow and expand the home? Really, how long do they plan on staying there? And historically, the average loan used to turn every 7 years. The average loan turns every 4.5 years right now. So people aren't keeping their mortgages for 5 years anyway. But that's those are just statistics. It doesn't mean that it's everybody's doing it. It just means that people don't keep their mortgages for 5 years anyway, right? But
Right.
they just want the security, unfortunately. And I get the security part, but if you if you can overcome that hurdle and say, well, this is technically, this loan is going to be good for the next 7 years for you. Does it make sense, right? And does it serve the purpose? Can it get them into the home? Can you get some cooperation from the seller? And is it the right fit? And again, it's not going to fit for everybody, but I imagine if you have 10 buyers that are looking at this, I would imagine 2 to 3 of them might think that this is actually a good way to go.
And it's gonna depend on their personality too,
For
right,
sure.
Wes?
For sure.
It's gonna depend on if they're like not at all wanting to risk, anything, they won't do it. But if they're a little bit of a gambler, they're gonna do it.
And I hate that word gambler, but I get what you're saying. But I think if you ask the questions that are leading to the answer, that's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Yeah, I am going to have more money. I am going to, we are going to have raises. Yeah, this really seems like a good decision. Then you can talk about also like, hey, these loans got a bad name. They're really not bad.
Are
I
the
have
fees are the fees associated with it the same as a
they,
regular loan?
they are.
Okay.
Yep.
And they can refi out of it at any point in time,
At any point in time,
as long as they qualify.
as long as they qualify. Yeah, and the benefit of these, you qualify at the start rate, right? So if you have somebody that has qualification issues and you're trying to squeeze them in, you can qualify them at the start rate, the 3.99 versus
Oh.
the 5.5, $300 less. That that's what 20 um about $45,000 in purchasing power,
Oof.
right? So that can make a difference for somebody who's like just can't find anything because there's nothing but shit in their price range. But you might be able to extend it out. Again, I'm just trying to come up with some ideas, some solutions. I know it's a tight market. Buyers just aren't pulling triggers, and we're just trying to do whatever we can to get some movement and have some opportunity to make some sales.
Yeah, and some options for consumers.
Yep.
So does everybody understand that? Does anybody have any questions for Wes about about the program? No, anything online on the chat? What are rates today, Wes? What are they?
FHA's around 5.25, and conventional's about 5.7 ish, 5.8, somewhere
God,
around there.
it's like people should be doing things right
They
now. I mean, we're down
should
to
be, and that
fives.
goes to show you it's not a rate sensitivity thing. The rates are low enough. It's just I think it's a property and combined with sales prices, combined with payments. I don't think they can't say the rate's the issue anymore.
No,
Stuff that's priced right's going.
yeah,
That's right, and that's what
it
it boils
is.
down to.
It is, but I've made mistakes lately myself pricing. Well, looking at comps, it was
Yeah,
fine.
comps
What I
are all
did it.
high.
But
Yeah.
you've gotta look now at what the competition is.
Yeah.
And you've gotta be a little bit better, like maybe one more bedroom or one more.
Nicer features.
One nicer feature and maybe a little bit less on price. It's a double whammy for sellers. Like you've got to get the competition out of the way by being a little bit better, a little bit cheaper. And when you're looking at actives, make sure you're not basing it on one that's been on the market for 6 months. Because that one's overpriced,
Mhm.
right? But we're looking behind. That's the good news is we're not having any problems with appraisals because we're looking behind and everything is here and it's going here. But I don't know if buyers have it in their mind that prices are gonna drop. I don't know what they're thinking, but if interest rates do drop, prices will not drop because we'll get a lot more, well, you hope you'll get a lot more buyers in the market.
And then this is also a time where it doesn't hurt you to have your sellers also on the auto prospecting, the reverse prospecting, so they're seeing their competition. Most sellers
Yes,
are already on realtor.com anyways and seeing their competition, but it's also helpful if you are the one sending it to them. So that way you're subtly telling them, this is what you're up against. How are we strike?
and the inventory is growing, so I had an agent who called me today. He had reduced his price on his listing. Guess what? One just got listed and it's down here. And he's like, what do I do?
And 200 square feet more.
And it's 200 square feet more. And he said to me, well, I was gonna drop my price by 5,000. A drop. Probably not a good idea. If you're gonna do a price reduction, drop it down and make yours the deal of the day. Otherwise, because the inventory is growing, there's more competition and somebody's gonna come in that's a little bit better than you, and then they just stole your buyer. They just took that buyer that you potentially had.
Well, I think there's been so much pent up demand that for new homes, that new homes have been kicking the crap out of our market.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I think that they're almost built out.
Yeah.
So I think when they get built out,
That's gonna help
resale
us.
stuff is gonna come back.
Well, Jackie and I see so more files now that are new builds. We would rarely see them.
Mhm.
Now, everybody, oh, it's a new build, oh, it's a new build, oh, it's a new build.
And we're finally starting to see some of those recently new builds hit the market for resale now. So like over the villas, I've seen 2 already. And I thought I saw 2 in the recent weeks over for the ones that C21 has,
Mhm.
those.
Roll
So
ups,
it's like, we're seeing more of those hit the market too already.
Yeah, so just another way to help your buyers and help yourself get sales. So thank you so much, Wes. That was amazing. Appreciate that. So I don't know if anybody's doing the 20 days of intention. Well, I know there's some of us are, but if you are not, it is not too late to jump in and start doing the 20 days of intention. It's in downtown in the know. There is not a right or a wrong. It's not a win or a lose. It's doing better than what we have done previously. It is a slow time. Instead of just going, oh, it's a slow time, I don't know what to do. Take this slow time to start getting in touch with your SOI and doing all these things. I've already got it for you. You don't have to dream it up. It's there. It's in the know. And so I know Connie's been doing it. I've been doing it. Jessica Reeves has been doing it. She's super happy. I don't know. I'm sure there's others who are doing it. Are you doing it, Jim?
Excuse me?
Jim is not doing it. So Jim, no,
Today.
yeah, but I would encourage you guys to do it because it's so easy and it's like a game to me because I like to write it out and then I write who I'm gonna do these things to and then I scratch it out when I do it. It's very fulfilling to me. Feels good. I like scratching things off. So does Connie. Connie gets her, she writes it down. She showed me yesterday, look, I marked all these off. And I promise you, it's gonna come back to you. And even if you can't do all of the tasks, just do something.
Mhm.
One is better than 0. Just keep going with it. So that's why I kind of went into knowing the numbers. So knowing your numbers, there's about real estate. It would be like going on a diet and not tracking the food you're eating, right? Like you're just guessing. If you really want a diet to be effective, you've got to measure your food. You've got to put it into MyFitnessPal or whatever it is you're using, and it tells you the calories and breaks it all down, how much protein, so that you know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're just guessing. Same, that's why I go to a trainer because I know how to work out myself. But with my trainer, he tracks everything for me. He has his iPad. He knows exactly what we did the last time we did it. We're not wasting time. We know it's effective and we know it isn't. So that's why I want you guys to know your numbers. And if you had a business that was not this business, you would know, right? If you had a restaurant, what your food costs were, what you made, what your income was, what your employee, your salaries are. So why don't we know it for real estate? That's my question. Why not? So, couple of quotes. You can't grow what you don't measure, right? It's again, if you're dieting, you're going to get on the scale. You're going to see, well, you might, or measure. You're going to see what you weigh. And then you're gonna see what progress you make and what's working for you, right? Top agents run their business by the numbers. Data creates clarity, confidence, and consistency, and treat your career like a business, not a hustle. That's the biggest thing I would say. Treat it like a business. Make sure you are running it like a business. And by knowing your numbers, you know what works and you know what doesn't. And that we eliminate the things that don't work.
Yeah.
Focus on the things that do. It's do what you do well. Very little, be focused. So that is the whole idea behind this training. So I'm gonna go over a lot of things, and some of them you're gonna be like, yeah, whatever. Some of them you don't care about, but pick out the ones that mean the most to you and try and figure out where you're at. GCI is your gross commission income. That is the total earned before expenses. Okay, so you see your GCI, we see what we bring in on our checks. But you've got to be able to do a profit and loss for your business every year. You've got to be able to do it to see what's really working and where you're wasting money. So because we can control how many deals we do by how many touches and how many open houses and everything that we do. But we also control the expenses that go with it. So if you don't know it, you should know it when you're turning in your taxes to your CPA, but not everybody does. So what are real estate expenses? And this, I can send this out to people. These are typical real estate expenses. Number one is brokerage fees and splits. That's your commission split, your transaction fees. You don't pay E&O insurance. You also don't pay office and desk fees. Those are typical. We don't charge those here. That should be 10 to 30% of your GCI, of your gross commission income. That's why it's important to understand as well the breakdown of what we charge. When you're considering going to other brokerages, if you ever were, you need to totally understand what their model is. Understand what the split is, what the cap is, if there is a cap, if there is not a cap, how it breaks down, because that affects your bottom line. That affects your GCI. Second is marketing and advertising. That should be 10 to 15%. So that's going to be ads, signage. Again, I pay for signage for you guys. You don't have to pay for signs. You don't have to pay to have them put up or down. Your photography, Canva, we provide that for you. If you're boosting social media, postcards, any listing marketing, 10 to 15%. Client gifts and events. They're saying that should only be 2 to 5% of your GCI. I see people on social media going nuts with closing gifts and
TV, refrigerator.
and I get it. It's that almost is marketing.
Yeah, but then it's like, what if you don't do that to this client?
The
Because
next
you're short
person.
that month, and they're like, "What
Yep.
the heck? I used you because I thought I'd get a fridge."
I know that there's people that do that and they consider it marketing. So if that's the case, I would work that into the marketing category because it is kind of marketing for some people. I figure doing a good job is a closing gift. That's just
Good
me.
reviews.
I do buy for buyers, I do buy a home warranty. I don't do much beyond that. And it's just what works for you as an agent, right? What your thing is gonna be. I don't do balloons. To me, it's a waste. They just.
Now that I have more time, I'm trying to take them all to a really nice dinner.
Yeah,
Then I
a
can
dinner would be,
reconnect,
and wouldn't that be
and they
nice?
feel like, oh, it's
Yeah.
not a big deal. It's not that expensive.
That's a great idea. Take them to a dinner and do it after they've moved in or
Yeah.
after they've sold. So you can touch them again to, I used to, and I've talked about this before, Staffords used to do that chocolate club. And I used to close a deal and I'd sign up for the chocolate club and they would 4 times a year,
That's
they
great.
mail out chocolate to them. And these clients were like, "Oh, you thought of me." No,
Yeah,
I really
sure.
didn't, but they remembered. So, whatever you're doing, that's fine, but you've got to make sure you're within 2 to 5%. Technology and systems, CRM, again, we pay for that. Website, we pay for that. But that's going to be MLS fees, your lock boxes, any kind of subscriptions that you belong to, that should be 5 to 10%. Continuing education, 3 to 5%. That's going to be licensing, renewal, any conferences you go to, if you pay for coaching. Vehicle and travel is 10 to 15%. Office supplies, you don't, well, unless you have it at home, you don't pay for that. That's when you can eliminate, well, your laptop. I guess
Mhm.
that would be your office supply. Professional services, your CPA, any transaction coordinators, they work that's 2 to 5%. Dues and membership is 2 to 3%. And then personal development, so that's like books, seminars, 1 to 3%.
I try to write off my CPA costs and they never let me.
Who doesn't? Your CPA?
Yeah,
Yeah, you just put it under professional services, but don't tell them that it's.
I'll just put it in my expense file.
Yeah.
Professional.
Put it under professional
So,
services.
so if you guys want these expenses, we can get this out to you. We'll put it in the know. It's important to know what that is. It's also so you can figure your GCI, right? But you guys should be putting money into your business. You know, it's not about shortcutting all these things. It's about taking this and finding out what is making money for you.
Well, and you guys are saving us so much money
We do.
that it's like a no brainer to move that into something else.
Exactly. So,
Brittany, we will email the slides along with this list. And then.
and the chocolate company doesn't do it anymore, Bree. They stopped doing it. They used to. It was Stafford's, but they just don't do it anymore.
However, what Sarah and Jim have done is they partnered with local companies and sent out birthday vouchers. And then just only pay when people redeem them.
Right. So the next one is net income profit margin, what you actually keep. So that's after expenses, what your net is. Your goal should be 40% of what your GCI is. That should be your goal. Expenses as percentage of GCI, you should be keeping 30 to 50%. Cost per transaction, total expenses divided by number of closings. So I think that one is super interesting. If you take your total expenses, right, for the year and divide the number of closings, you're gonna get your cost per transaction. How valuable is that number to know it costs me this much to
You
do
know
a
what that
transaction?
makes you think about is like, should I really list this $60,000
Yes.
mobile home?
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
No, 100%, because then you're like, okay, should I mean, I get it, you want the calls, but if you're gonna list $60,000 mobile homes, maybe it's a flat fee you charge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe it's gotta be something, because if you think about it, by the time you list it, you pay the photographer, you pay your TC, you are down, and there's a split, you're down to like,
You drive there and help them get rid of all their furniture.
and they're old,
Driven-
they need a lot of time.
Maybe a sign. What a sign.
So one of the weirdest things that ever happened to me, and this was a lot of years ago, I listed a mobile home out on the one on Colonial on Morton. And it was the only time I think I've really ever sold something from an open house, or it was something weird that happened with it. Well, then every elderly lady decided I was gonna be their agent, and I went on a string of like 5 in that mobile home park. And I was like, oh God, this gotta
And
stop,
every
right?
appointment's like 2 hours, right?
Every appointment is 2 hours, and then, they, cause they all talk. And then, we wanna use your agent, and as much as I appreciated them, and it's just 5 in a row. Really brings down your GCI. And I guarantee you, your cost per transaction for mobile homes is high. Lots not as bad, right? Because lots are easier.
There's no open houses. It's
Right.
You don't have to drive there for home inspection.
And let's know what your time is worth, right? How much time, that would be another interesting one per closing. How many hours did I put into this? What did I make? Divide it by how many hours? How much am I making per hour? It sounds horrible, guys, to say we don't want to help people with mobile homes, or we don't want to
And
help.
maybe you do during the holidays.
Yeah, maybe
But
that's
when you're
it.
really busy.
But if you're really busy, that might be one you want to refer to somebody else
Or charge more.
or charge more.
Or just say, if you
Or-
listen at this, I'll do it, but
It's-
if you list higher than that.
Right, make sure your pricing is correct and maybe charge more, a flat fee, and if they don't want it, that's okay, they can find somebody who will do it for little and make nothing. I mean, Jackie and I have seen it where even on some of the Op City stuff, it was mobile homes. Jackie and I felt so bad, like we didn't even charge our portion because the
We
agent,
didn't even charge the transaction.
we didn't even charge a transaction fee because the agent came out with nothing.
Yeah.
We're like, they're making $50. it
They do
doesn't
that.
work.
They-
I mean,
they-
what's your extra fee $15 and Eden's check was barely 60 some.
Right, so
You owe
know
me
know
$5.
those numbers. When you're new, I get it. When you don't have a lot going on, I get it. But when you're busy, you gotta really start looking at what's gonna be most effective. And, you know, that's again, that's what goes back to having a TC. People wanna save money, not to have a TC. When you are really busy, a TC allows you to do the high dollar per hour thing. Otherwise, you're doing that stuff. And you're caught up doing this when you should be lead generating, calling your SOI, sending out handwritten notes. You're doing this and you're not doing this. So again, I know that a lot of people do their own TC. It's nothing I've ever done. I don't want to do it. I don't like to do it, but I get it. But when you get busy, you really probably should
Yeah.
consider a TC. It's a valuable ad.
Even before we had TCs, you used to even have a personal assistant,
I
right?
did. Yes, I had a personal assistant. So profit is not what you make, it's what you keep. So that's what you guys gotta look at. It's great when you're making a lot of money, closing a lot of deals, but what are you actually ending up with at the end? That's why these numbers are so important. Okay, marketing and lead generation metrics. So you've got to figure out what your return on marketing is. And this is a little confusing. I'm gonna get the formula and I'll put it on there. But basically, you're gonna take, if you spend 2,000 on marketing and you earned a 12,000 in commission, your return, your revenue from marketing would be 12,000 minus the 2, right? That's, and then you divide that by 2 and you times it by 100. The 100 is getting it to a percentage. So you would be getting 500% back. So that means for every dollar spent, you earn 5 back. Right? So you've got to be able to spend, to figure that on your marketing. You want to make sure your marketing is good. That's how you stop wasting money on things that are costing you a lot of money and not generating a lot of leads, right? You've got to know what is working. Again, that's where being intentional and knowing where your leads come from is so important. You got to know, you got to ask. If somebody refers somebody to you, I always ask them, oh, you know, how did you get referred to me? Oh, so and so. Okay, they're in my SOI. I just made a big return on investment, right? Because on marketing, because it's free to touch my SOI and I just got a referral out of it, right? That's great. The percentage is super high. If it's postcards, if they call you from a postcard, if you're sending out postcards to people, you better track what you're getting out of it, because the percentage is not gonna be high. It's gonna be low. It's branding. Eventually something may happen, but you know, we don't know. You don't know for sure. That's why you need to know what the return on the marketing, so you know what's working, know what isn't, and eliminate what does not work. So leads generated per source, open houses, referrals, ads. You should know that number. What leads are being generated? What's working? I would track every open house and how many leads you get out of it. Like, I don't know where you track it at. Spreadsheets. Oh, there we go. Spreadsheets,
Or a
which
piece of paper.
for me, it's gonna be a paper because I can't do spreadsheets, but Jackie does spreadsheets, but you should know.
Put it on a piece of paper, take a GPT, they'll give you
Yes.
the formula.
Use chat. And so you should know what's working. Open houses, I guarantee you are gonna work. They're gonna work. You're gonna get leads out of it. Referrals. If you're working your SOI and you're getting referrals, past clients, that's great. Ads, probably not. I don't think I've ever had somebody call me from a billboard. You know, and I did that for a long time and that cost a ton of money every month. And it just didn't work. I eliminated that. I'd rather take that money and put it into, I'd rather do postcards than billboards. But that's just my personal preference. Cost per lead. So you want to see your total spend divided by the leads generated. So if you're sending out cards and you're doing it consistently for 6 months, you better add up all those expenses and divide it by how many leads you got out of it to see what you're getting, what it's costing you per lead. and if that's working, it may or may not. Lead to appointment conversion, you should know how many, the percentage of leads resulting in appointments. You should know how many listing appointments you've gone out on and how many of those listings you got. And the goal is to improve it, right? Always to get better, to get almost 100%. My conversion rate for listing appointments is high. Not always, not 100%, but it's high. And that's what we should be going towards. And how do we do that? A great listing presentation. It's what Austin talked about last week. You know, how you being prepared, those things. So you should be sharpening your listing, because if you're paying for leads and you're getting listing appointments and you're not converting, you just wasted that money. You got to be able to convert. Okay. And track your marketing like an investor tracks return on investment. All right, the next one is pipeline and productivity metrics. How many appointments do you set per week? Consistency equals income stability. Okay, so to know how many, so you've got to back into that. How many appointments is it going to take for you to get a closed escrow? How many calls, how many touches? You've got to figure that out. Where everybody's going to be different, right? My percentage of touches to my SOI might be different than yours. Especially even open houses. Conversion. Some agents are like rock stars with open houses. They convert. And they know, but you should know those numbers to see what's working for you. Appointments held. How many track real meetings versus cancellations? And if you're getting cancellations, why are you getting cancellations? Are they rescheduling or are they just fizzling out on you? And I think what Austin talked about last week was, making sure you're leaving something with people. You could even drop off, if you know you've got a listing appointment coming, drop off a listing presentation before and see if you can get them engaged and try and get them in. When I go and people want me to come and see a house, they always say, oh, I want to get it cleaned up. I always try and stop that. Like, oh, I don't care about clean. I always say this. I have 4 kids. I know what it's like. All I want to see is the layout, your floor plan, and what kind of upgrades you have. I just want to see the basics. We're going to talk about what it's going to look like to show it after that. I just want to get the foot in the door. I do not want to wait until it's clean. I want to be the first agent to get in there. So when they throw that one out at you, I always dumb it down. Like I always get on their level and go, oh my gosh, I have 4 kids and you should see my house when my grandkids come over, and I have dogs or whatever it is, that you can relate to them. So they go, oh, okay, I'm not judging. I don't care. So they know that. Signed agreements, listing, buyer broker or listing equals short-term income. Obviously, the more agreements you have, it's immediate. You're going to have, when you have a signed listing, you're going to get income soon. Well, you hope it's going to sell and you get income soon. Appointment to agreement rate, 60 to 80% for warm leads. How many people can you get from appointment to agreeing? So that could be a listing, that could be a buyer consultation. You should be at 60 to 80% for warm leads. Anybody in your SOI that you already know, that should be a high rate of conversion for you. A whole nother reason to be working your SOI, right? Because you know them. It's a warm conversion. It's easier than cold calling. Agreement to closing rate measures client follow through. Make sure it's seen, how many of them sign the listing and then actually go through with it. Most of them do once you got into the listing point. But buyers, that's the ones, right now they sign a buyer broker agreement and all of a sudden, where are they? You've got them, they're right there, they're pre-qualified. Where are they? Get them to that point if you can get them to that closing, and don't give up on people when you have buyers. Even if they go kind of quiet, I've had it before, they go quiet, they're not responding. I keep texting them until they tell me, Sarah, we're not interested anymore. We don't, we're out of the market, whatever reason. But if they're not responding, it doesn't matter. I keep texting them stuff because all of a sudden they'll go, oh, we like that one, Sarah. You don't know what's going on. Sometimes they're just not paying attention to it. Or they like it, but they don't want to see it. And they're not going to engage until they see something they like. So don't give up. And if it's not in your calendar, it's not your business. So another one, calendaring. You've got to calendar in for all of these things and especially for the 20 days of intention. Sales performance metrics. So volume closed, the total dollar value of all your closings. So we know that because Jackie tracks all of that. Jackie can give that to you at any point in time. You don't have to figure it. Jackie's got it. Average sales price. That's easy. You take, your volume to, of not your GCI, but the volume of the purchase price, and divide it by the number of closings. Yeah, and you're gonna get your sales price. That's gonna show you what your little niche is. Like, are you more of a luxury? Are you not? Here, I think everybody's all over the board. It's that kind of a community. It's not like LA where they can focus on, oh, I only do Beverly Hills, this kind of thing. We don't have that luxury of doing that. Anybody who just totally does Springville, there's agents who are Springville agents, but they still list all over the place. So I don't think that's even anything. I wouldn't worry about that. It would be interesting to know your sales price. I think the average sales price in this area is $375. Is that?
And Zillow can give you yours too.
Yeah, it was lower.
Yeah, Porterville's a little bit lower by
Yeah.
Sally's about
So
$375.
Tulare County's one, and then Porterville's is lesser, but we're still good. None of us are restricted to just Porterville, we're all Tulare.
But
County.
that should be part of your goals for next year. Like, take this year's production, see what your average sales price was. Do you want to try and be higher than that? Don't list 5 mobile homes in a row. It does not help your average sales price. Believe me, we're all doing it. Like right now,
Yeah.
all I can deal with is fixer uppers as is and land. That's what I'm getting right now. And it's like, oh my gosh, more land. I'm thankful for it. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, come on.
And I
You
want,
know,
I
yeah.
want buyers right now.
I want
listings.
buyers. That's
Yeah.
everybody wants
Mhm.
buyers. And right now with listings, you've got to have more listings to make the same amount of income we were making last year from listings because they were selling. Now you've got to have 2 because only 1 sells.
Mhm.
So it's harder right now.
And now you gotta actually retain those leads that come from that listing.
Yeah.
And try to sell them something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when you have a listing and you're getting sign calls, you should be really honing in on those people to, if that isn't the house for them, you should be talking to them. Like, oh, what did is that in your price range? Is that, give them the info and say, is that something you're interested in? And if they say, oh, no, it's not in our price range, say, oh, well, if I find something similar or, a little bit less in this area, can I send it to you? Most of them are gonna say yes.
And as having listings, it is important that you have all your online profiles filled out and set up so that people can easily find your phone number to call you. So when they're on Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, you wanna make sure they find your number more than just a contact agent that sends them to some system that will sell their information to another agent.
Days on market. This one's scary. Reflects pricing and marketing efficiently. Well, we all know it's hard. It's a hard one. But it would be interesting to see what your average days on market is. That is somewhere we can find that, right?
Yeah, and but you also wanna break it down based off price point too. Cause your average days on market for high-end homes for sure is always gonna be larger than your average sales price home.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they go fast.
Yeah.
If they're priced properly, they go fast. Okay, forecasting and client flow metrics. Active clients, buyers, sellers currently active or under contract. Pending volume, dollar value of deals under contract. Jackie does this for me. Jackie knows what we've got pending, so I know what we've got coming in potentially to the brokerage. So Jackie does this for me. You should do this for your own.
I've been tracking this data for the past 15 years.
Yeah, Jackie's done it for 15 years.
That's the only reason I don't complain about doing it. I love doing it because I know its importance.
Right, and Jackie makes, it is important. Projected closings, cash flow forecast. If you know what your projected closings are, you can know if you can afford to do something if you want to reinvest money, right? Follow-up activities, daily habits that fuel your pipeline. That's important. The more you measure forward, the more control you have. Relationship and database metrics. Next one, Jackie. Database size, how many people you know, like, and trust you. This one is so important, you guys, and this is SOI. This is the one I keep harping on. This is what the 20 days of intention is about. Contacts added per month, indicator of growth. I would see at the end of the year how many people you've added. I would see that because I think that's important. That could be worked into your goals for the next year. Touches per contact per year, aim for 36 plus. That's easy, easy, easy. We've talked about this, how to touch them 36 times. It's super easy. I just sent out the whole November newsletter to everybody in sync. And now I'm sending out the whole Veterans Day to everybody in sync. You know, there's 2. I send out holiday ones, that's 12. They get a home pulse, that's 12. I mean, I'm easily over 36, easily. Every month, I also send out when I just list something, and when I close it, I send it out to all of them. So they know I'm relevant, I'm still here. Referrals per 100 contacts, measure your sphere return on investments. How many referrals are you getting out of your contacts? Follow-up activities, keep your relationships warm. Absolutely. Don't just put your leads in sync. Talk to them. Otherwise, it does you no good. I think you missed one, Jackie.
This one.
Yeah, activity, calculate your numbers. So this says bring your 2025 year-to-date data, but get your 2025 year-to-date data and fill in your GCI, your profit margin, your cost per transaction, average commission per deal, and dollar per hour. And then identify your strongest metric and your biggest opportunity for improvement. So know what you do well, know what you are not doing well, and try and improve. Set those up as your goals.
I will commit to by Friday, everyone will be given an update as of whatever they close up until October 31st. That is what I'll send out this week.
It's what, Jackie?
I'll give everybody out, by Friday, I'll be emailing everybody their numbers for what they've done up until October 31st.
Perfect. Perfect. And then at the end of the year, we'll try and resend. We have to calculate it for awards anyway, so
Yep.
we're gonna know, and we'll send it out to everybody so you can do these numbers.
I'm watching it closely.
Yes, yes. So next steps. Next one, Jack. I think there's 2. Complete that tracker that we talked about. And then set personal growth goals for 2026. I would love to see what your guys' goals are. I would love to see it, not because I want to hold you to it, but just to see where your brains are. Post your biggest takeaway in downtown in the know. The more aware you are of your numbers, the more control you gain over your numbers. So like the 20 days of intention, if you guys can plug in what's going on. I know Jessica did, Connie did. I've said a little bit about how it's going. And then if you can do these next steps and then what your takeaway is. Sometimes agents are afraid to say what's going on, but it helps relate if we all are kind of open about what's going on and what our fears are, what our goals are. It's just super important, guys. This all goes back to SOI, the 20 days of intention. So we'll get all the stats out to you. Know your numbers. If you have questions about anything, reach out to me, reach out to Jackie. Jackie has all the spreadsheets. I can help you with some of the formulas, but I won't know the numbers. Jackie knows those. This month, we're not doing a meeting next week
No,
because
yeah,
it's Veterans Day. Everybody come to Veterans Day, the open house event. Invite your clients. Anybody who wants to be in the cornhole tournament, let me know. We've got about 8 teams right now. We need about 16. And it's gonna be fun, and we're gonna give away a prize.
We're not serving ice cream again.
No, we are not serving ice cream. We are not serving ice cream. We learned our lesson. See, we did that and we realized that didn't work, and so we shifted gears, right? It's like the lead generating, it doesn't work. Jim and I were up to our elbows in ice cream and the wind was blowing and leaves were falling in it, and Jim and I were like, oh, this is horrible. This is bad. But, and you know.
I'd rather be small talking.
Yeah, well, yeah, which is also painful, but I would rather do that than serve ice cream.
So we'll be doing appetizers and bar and axe throwing and cornhole tournament.
Cornhole tournament. So come and have fun, invite your clients, put it on social media. If any of your clients want to compete in the tournament, let us know. Like, we'll sign them up. We're gonna give away a nice Yeti ice chest, and we're gonna put a bunch of fun goodies in there. So that's gonna be given away.
Are we good on cornholes? Do we need more?
We do need some cornhole sets if anybody has any. The more people we need, the more sets we have, but we're working on that. We're gonna do, the following Wednesday, we are gonna do office meeting. And then the following Wednesday, that's Thanksgiving. Well, oh, it's potluck, right, in Exeter, and then it's Thanksgiving. And then in December, we're only gonna have a sales meeting. Just because there's so much going on and it's too much to ask to do training. But in January, Gunner has taken a very deep dive into AI. Like he is on it, and not just chat, other software programs. He has redone our whole property management business, and it's incredible and he's going to teach us a class, and then every month he's going to do a clinic, and we can come and work on something new with AI, which is so important.
So like even as simple as today's slides, Sarah put.
I did it
ChatGPT
on chat. I did all the slides. So I always do the training, and then I have to email the girls what I want the slides to be. Jackie, I go, well, maybe I can do it myself. Right. So Jackie was like scared of that. So Jackie goes, put it in chat. And we did, and it did it, and it sent it to me. And it was like, this is amazing. So Romy didn't have to do it. Jackie didn't have to do it. I didn't have to
I
do
just
it.
had to do mine or Emily,
Chat did it. It was so unbelievable.
and it sent it to her in PowerPoint format. It asked her for the logo, it tried plugging it in and screwed up, but I fixed it. It was literally less than 5 minutes of editing.
Yeah. So we're gonna start on a whole AI campaign, but that'll be after the first of the year.
Miss Carolina here experienced ChatGPT for the first time. She learned her limits on it, but every time it was like, well, let's just ask chat, because Caroline's like me, we overthink things. So it was like, just ask chat and tell it to simplify it, and yeah, I got her
Yeah.
to calm down and submit.
Whatever program Gunner is using, he said there was 40 questions. And I know we did that at the start. Remember when we did AI, you start telling it about yourself. But this is 40 specific questions that this software asks. It took Gunner over an hour to fill it all out. But he said what came out of that, and then some little tricks with it that he's learned. It's amazing. So he's super excited. He's excited. We're excited, and he wants to come and share. So we'll hear what he has to say. Connie is also going to do a relationship training with us, like how important. So we've got two opposite ends of the spectrum. We've got the relationship training, and then we have, the high tech. All of them are important. We need to know all of it.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming today. And anything else, Jackie?
And if there's any training you want to see,
Yes.
Sarah, share.
If you want to train, let me know. If you have something to train on, something that's worked for you, something that you're passionate about. You want to train, Jim?
I don't know, I think about it. I did want to say, I got a couple of Venmos. If anyone, as a reminder, wants to send me, I'm gonna go shopping soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much.
I'll send it out in the Haymarket right now, so everyone will get a text if they wish to make a donation
Okay.
contribution.
Awesome.
Mhm.
All right. Thanks, guys. Great Wednesday.